Hi everybody. Today I want to look at glass. Look at some glass. I want to look at the topic of glass because glass is a really important material for our society. Hey, did you hear about the glass blower who accidentally inhaled? He ended up with a pain in the stomach. Glass is a very important substance in our society. We use it in all sorts of different ways, but we often don't think about it. The structure of glass, chemically speaking, is quite interesting. The elements in glass, the atoms, are mostly silicon and oxygen, but they're not arranged in a very particular structure. They're not lined up. You can see in this diagram here that we've got silicon, that's oxygen, 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 silicon, silicon, oxygen. The atoms are all over the place. And this is in contrast to silica, which is a crystalline material. And the fact that the atoms are all lined up in lines, you can see there's a line there that goes up like that. This line goes up like this. You can see they're in lines, and that means that the material ends up having crystals. And crystals break in particular ways along particular lines, and impurities concentrate on the edges of the crystals. So that will interfere with the transparency of the material. So even though pure silica is transparent, if it's crystalline, you can see the crystal boundaries and it will break along those boundaries. But if it's amorphous, then the impurities are just spread out evenly through the material and the optical properties are better. So glass is very important to us. Here we have a picture of a camera lens. So let's think about camera lenses. Camera lenses can work because glass is transparent. The fact that the light will go through the glass is what makes the camera lens able to function as a lens. Now, lens also has to be a lens shape. So the fact that the glass can be shaped into a lens means that glass is suitable for making a lens. Lenses also have to be clean. You can't have things embedded in the surface. So the fact that glass has got a nice smooth surface means it can be cleaned, and that means the lens will work properly. It's also good that glass is fairly hard. Now, you can scratch it, but hardened glass is quite hard, which means the lens is going to last for quite a long time. So as we think about glass and we think about lenses, you can see the characteristics of glass make it possible to make a lens. Similar kind of story for windscreens. Cars wouldn't really be possible if it wasn't for glass making windscreens. The fact that it's transparent means that we can see through the windscreen, and that keeps the air out of our eyes, like the wind is out of our eyes. And a windscreen actually needs to be the right shape to fit onto the car properly. So the fact that glass can be shaped is important. Once again, the glass can be clean, and we can clean the dirt off it. We can use windscreen wipers, and the glass is fairly hard. Now, of course, it can be cracked, but most of the time it's free of scratches and functions really well. So these characteristics of the glass make it very suitable for making a windscreen. Lenses in telescopes. Okay, so telescopes have been very important for the advancement of science, because we can understand what's going on with the sun and the moon and the stars. Then that helps us understand the world around us. And the lenses in a telescope have those characteristics which I mentioned before, which you can put a lens in a camera, or you can put a lens in a telescope as well. In a similar sort of way, the lenses in a microscope allow us to see very small things. We can see the parts of ants, we can see cells. That has allowed us to understand the cellular nature of life. Cells are the basis of nearly all living things. So that understanding has really helped us to understand biology. So it wasn't for glass that we can make lenses for microscopes, then we may have not been easily able to understand that part of science. Now, glasses are also useful to make an actual drinking glass. What are the characteristics of that? Well, it doesn't have to be transparent. You could have a coloured one, so maybe not that one, but it does have to be shaped. Okay, so it's important that a drinking vessel is the right shape, we can make it beautiful shapes because it is able to be shaped. We melt the glass and then we can make it into the shape that we want. It's important that it's clean because if it wasn't clean then we couldn't use it for drinking properly. And once again, fairly hard so it doesn't deform. Now you could probably have you can have plastic vessels for drinking, but often it's the glass ones which are preferable. Another use for glass is for storing food. Once again, it's not really so important that it's transparent. You can have coloured glass and keep things in those. Actually, transparent can be a problem sometimes because the light gets in and it can actually change the food that's on the inside. But definitely being able to be shaped. Being able to be shaped means that we can make food containers, and they have the right shape to take a lid, and they're handy and they're the right size, so that's very useful. Very important that they can be cleaned, made free of dirt and germs. That's one of the characteristics of glass which makes it really suitable for storing food. And once again, fairly hard means it can withstand a bit of a bump, and unless it breaks, then it's really very good. Let's just go back quickly to the glass, to the glass. This one, we could also think about other things which are similar to the drinking glass. We could have a beaker, we could have a volumetric flask, we could put some marks on the side to measure volume, we could have a measuring cylinder. So all the laboratory glassware which has enabled chemistry to advance in all sorts of ways is in fact dependent on the fact that glass is transparent, and we can make it the right shape, we can make it clean, and it's fairly hard, it doesn't change its shape too quickly. So the things that we make are going to keep their shape, and that's what we want. So there we go. Thank you for listening.